So, Matt, a lot of people are going to see Virginia football for the first time in the postseason, and that's how it works. You've got the national stage to yourself. Unlike any other game, even some of the bigger games of the season, Virginia Tech would be the exception for you guys playing on that Friday night. But Navy at home, a formidable opponent, obviously bring the triple option attack, and that's something that you're used to facing with Georgia Tech. But just your thoughts about defensively preparing for the run game.
Yeah, I think, yeah, as you mentioned, we do play Georgia Tech every year, or Virginia does play Georgia Tech every year. Bronco Mendenhall has stated that he has a passion for defending option offenses. Micah Kaiser has joked that he has film going back into black and white days of how to defend, of different option offenses. Virginia played really well defensively against Georgia Tech. There were a couple of breakdowns, but on the whole, solid. So I'm optimistic that they'll be able to play well defensively against Navy. I think that's a good matchup for UVA, given that they, have some extra time to prepare for an option, and given the fact that they play against an option.
Hey, Matt, reading into the comment by Micah Kaiser, taking it to the level of incentive, and then this gets brought up all the time when we've got 82 teams playing in bowl games, and many of them don't land in the destination they want. But this is a different situation with Virginia. Although the opponent and the place may not be desirable for certain perspectives, what seemed to be the mood and the vibe of the team once they received this announcement?
Everyone seems to be excited about it. So, Virginia has a lot of players that are from Maryland, Micah Kaiser being one of them, Andre Lavroni, senior wide receiver, being another one. They both spoke, or at least tweeted, about how, their excitement about playing at home. Andre Lavroni mentioned that he played in high school championship games at Navy Stadium, so he's excited to go back there. I think Virginia's going to be fired up for this one. You can never easily get into the mind of 18 to 21-year-olds and know exactly what's on their mind. But I have to think that Virginia being as excited as they were to become bowl eligible, getting a chance to play in front of what I think is going to be a large contingent of Virginia fans, I have to be, I'm optimistic that they're going to be pretty excited about this. I don't know about Navy. Again, it's hard to their mindset, but I would not be surprised if there was a little bit of a letdown on their end, coming off of that Army loss.
It's just an interesting dynamic in that for the past couple of years, so going back to last season, they played an American Conference Championship game. So they lose the conference championship game. They got to turn around and play their rival with the nation watching them. Unlike other rivalries that we would deem more important from a football standpoint, but they've got the entire nation. Anybody wanting to watch college football has got to watch Army-Navy. Then they've got a bowl game that's scheduled relatively soon after that, and then they play at their own place, which you could say they've got home field advantage on one hand, but at the other time, I think these kids like to travel, see a new destination, new surroundings, and it's a trip. It's a reward. But for Navy, they stay home, they go about their business, and obviously the business that they tend to day in, day out, much different than the typical student. And then they play a home game against another team.
Absolutely. I think it'll be interesting to see how motivated they are for this one. That said, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I think it's going to be a great game. I think both fan bases will turn out with a great deal of enthusiasm. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know Bronco Mendenhall is very purposeful, or was very purposeful at BYU to make bold trips special for his players, and to try to get them to fire themselves up and try to get them to figure out how to motivate themselves. I know traditionally their players used to go and do community service projects in the towns that they would travel to. I haven't heard if they'll do something like that this year, but it wouldn't surprise me. But I think Virginia will be fired up, and I think and I hope Navy's fired up, and I think the fans all around should be fired up. I think it'll be a great game.
I don't understand the motivation issue myself, Matt, because if I was a head coach, I would try to get across to these kids, let's understand this, that when you're playing fill in the blank, North Carolina in the middle of the season. Yes, this is a big ACC game, but once we get knocked out of the championship race in the conference,
Yep.
Okay, we're just playing to tack on another win or loss to our record, and there's 50 other college football games going on and 15 on television, and not a whole lot of people collectively are watching us versus what we're seeing here. The nation's watching us. Everybody's watching us. So whether the stadium's half full or there's 10,000 people there,
Right.
the college football nation's watching this, and nobody's going to remember whether you beat this team or that team in the middle of the season 20 years from now, but they tend to look at bowl results and say, yeah, that Virginia team won the bowl game at the end of the season. So I just think it's a little bit more important than some people give it credit for.